So I thought I'd talk about Makoto Naegi from Danganronpa. Makoto Naegi is a student in Hope's Peak Academy, a prestigious school that you can really only get into if your, talent is super high above the rest. Going into the school, you get a title called the Ultimate, and in Makoto's case, he won and entered the school through a raffle, making him become the ultimate lucky student, since it's, this super high, crazy, good school. Even just being in it, you should feel lucky just to be in it. Makoto is the protagonist of the first Danganronpa game, Trigger Happy Havoc. At the beginning of Danganronpa, he doesn't really remember much, as when he was stepping into the school, he kind of collapsed. He is notably short, and compared to most of his classmates, it really shows. He has spiky brown hair with a prominent ahoge. He wears black jeans and a zipped up green hoodie. Time and time again, it's really been shown that Makoto's luck is more of like a guardian angel, as there's something always taking care of him, even when he thinks that it's not. As during the 5th trial, just before Makoto's execution, he's saved by Alter Ego, an AI created by one of his classmates. While his luck isn't as nearly as powerful as, Nagito's or Izuru's, his luck pattern is different from those two and is difficult for Junko to analyze and predict. It's unpredictable, to be honest. Junko actually predicted that he could possibly ruin her perfect layout plan, which she could have taken care of, but chose not to for the sake of despair. Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. Makoto is first seen walking to Hope's Peak Academy when suddenly his vision just becomes warped and he blacks out. He wakes up alone in a classroom with bolted windows. Makoto soon finds out that he is not alone. In what he assumes is the academy, a group of other students were locked in with him, each one telling a story with one thing in common. They all woke up somewhere in the school after losing consciousness. 15 students, including Makoto, trapped inside of the school. After they all assemble in the gym, Monokuma, a black and white bear, appears. He gives the 15 students a harsh choice: either live in the academy forever or kill one of the other students without being found out. And if you actually manage to kill one of the other students without being found out, you will get to quote-unquote graduate, meaning that you will be the only survivor because everyone else will die. Amongst all the other 14 students, Makoto recognizes one an ultimate pop idol and the other the ultimate fashionista. Makoto recognizes the pop idol as being Sayaka. In fact, she recognizes him too, as they both knew each other back in middle school. That same night, everyone is given a DVD, giving them a motive or an incentive to kill. Makoto's DVD is of his sister and parents at home smiling, wishing him good luck. Unfortunately, for other people, they receive the same, and some of them believe that maybe killing someone is the right option. That night, he switches room with Sayaka, and the next morning, he finds her dead in his bathroom. Of course, everyone finds out, and they all believe that Makoto is the one that killed her. However, Makoto, knowing that this isn't true, investigates with Kyoko Kirigiri, who doesn't really tell him what her ultimate talent is. After Makoto arrived at the logical conclusion of events that had transpired leading up to the murder, he had an intense debate with Leon, proving his name to be innocent and Leon to be guilty. Kyoko showed him a note from Sayaka revealing that she had suggested to the room switch with the intention of luring Leon, Kawada, the ultimate baseball star, to his room and murdering him, framing Makoto for the murder. Kyoko suggested that Sayaka's motive in writing her dying message, Leon spelled backwards, could possibly have been to protect Makoto, and that she had misgivings about her plan to murder Leon. Makoto responded that he would shoulder the weight of both Sayaka and Leon's death and live on, so their deaths would never be forgotten, and so that he could avenge their deaths by finding out who the mastermind was. As the chapters go on, his classmates start killing each other, until we reach chapter 5. After a certain number of events, the class finds out a body, and believe that it was either Makoto or Kyoko that committed the murder. It is in here where Makoto fails to convince his classmates that he killed anyone, therefore being sentenced to an execution. During the execution, Makoto is rescued by an alter ego AI program, who he and the others thought was destroyed. Alter Ego was then able to hack into the school system, thus saving Makoto. However, Makoto was sent down to the school's dumpster. Makoto is later woken up by Kyoko falling into the basement to rescue him. It is down here in the basement of the school that Kyoko reveals to Makoto her identity as the ultimate detective and informs him that she came here to find her father, the principal who abandoned her when she was a child. After appearing before the rest of his classmates, class, Makoto and Kyoko challenge Monokuma to another and final class trial, wherein they will reveal the secrets the school has left to offer. During this class trial, it is revealed that Monokuma has been controlled by Junko Enoshima, who they believe to have been killed back in chapter 1. Junko reveals that the world outside of the school has been destroyed and is inhospitable to live in, dubbing it the tragedy. Kyoko then explains to the rest of the classmates that they themselves, along with the principal, locked themselves into the school because of everything bad that was going on outside. When the real Junko reveals to be the true perpetrator, Makoto and the others are confused by the reasons behind her sadistic survival game. Junko then again twisted the rules in an attempt to bring out despair from the survivors. In that attempt, she stated that if they were to choose a life in which they can survive, then Makoto would have to be executed. Yet as persistent as always, Makoto refused to give in and tried to persuade his friends that hope still exists in their heart. After convincing his friends, Kyoko realized that her father would never sacrifice Makoto for the sake of his own life. She also realized that she could understand her father even if blood was the only trait they shared. With this revelation, Kyoko announced that Makoto himself had a hidden ultimate talent. As someone with the ability to defeat the ultimate despair, he could be called the ultimate hope. With his classmates' support around him, Makoto managed to defeat Junko. He tried to dissuade Junko from game-ending herself, but she eagerly relished the chance to experience the absolute despair of her master plan failing at the very end, leading her to execute herself in her very own special punishment. At the end of the game, 6 out of the 16 students that went into the school survived. Makoto opens the door that led to the outside of the school, while beginning to wonder if his doubts and insecurities will remain in his mind after his gruesome journey in the academy. In his heart, however, Makoto remarks that as long as he refuses to give in, hope will spread throughout the world. As long as he wields hope, he would make the impossible possible. However, this isn't the end of Makoto's story. As we know, Makoto makes a brief appearance in Danganronpa 2, mainly just the end of the game. When Makoto and the rest of the survivors left to the outside world, they were joined by an organization called the Future Foundation, which is an organization which helps fight against the remnants of despair, Junko's followers. And when the Future Foundation found the remnants of despair, Makoto protected them and decided to help them undo Junko's influence by putting them into the Neo World program, which is just a super high-tech virtual reality game. So Makoto returned along with Kyoko and Byakuya to save the remaining students, and after much trouble, they were finally able to activate the forced shutdown sequence. After alter ego Junko is seemingly destroyed, Makoto, Byakuya, and Kyoko leave the island, hopeful that the remnants of despair had been rehabilitated, despite not being guided in the expected direction of hope, but a future. Because Makoto decided to protect instead of, game-ending the remnants of despair, the Future Foundation charged him with the crime of treason. This takes us into Danganronpa 3, the end of Hope's Peak Academy future arc. Makoto is taken to the Future Foundation HQ. In it, he, along with Asahina and Kyoko, and the rest of the Future Foundation leaders, are forced into another final killing game by Monokuma. Everyone is given a strange bracelet that releases a special sleeping potion at a certain time. While asleep, there is a traitor among them, and they have to survive. Each person is also given a code that they must follow, otherwise they will, be injected with poison and, die. Makoto's code is basically running in the hallway. However, it can be sidestepped by having other people run while, carrying him, which is what Asahina does, which is pretty funny. Makoto, Asahina, and Kyoko, along with Midori, barricade themselves into a room while everyone else, dies off screen or whatever. They're nothing characters basically, except for one of them. One of them is basically Yu Narukami from Persona 4. Before being put to sleep, Kyoko encourages Makoto one last time before the sleeping drug causes him to go unconscious. Upon awakening, Makoto finds out that everyone is still alive. However, he notices that Kyoko is still, and when he reads the code on her bracelet, he realizes it was his fault that she was poisoned. See, because Kyoko had a pretty unfair rule to follow, which was she was going to die if Makoto survived to pass the 4th round. However, Makoto puts all his tears into his determination to stop the mastermind. Makoto finds out that there was no traitor in the Future Foundation the whole time, and instead, whenever one of them fell asleep next to a monitor, it would wake them up and force them to watch a hypnosis video. Watching this video filled that person up with so much despair and regret that they would actually game end themselves. Makoto then decides to prove his theory by, sleeping next to a monitor. When he wakes up, the monitor plays and all he can do is stare at the video. Nagito. At this point, he finds himself in a strange place where Kyoko and Sayaka appear, along with the rest of his classmates, taunting him, telling him to join him, along with the rest of his classmates, making him feel responsible for each and every single one of their deaths. However, Makoto is then stopped and saved by another member of the Future Foundation. After meeting up with Asahina and Mirai concludes that he could distribute a video that fills people with hope. However, he fails to convince Makoto and Asahina, as forcing people to change was unethical, and he was shredding people of their humanity, and by working together instead, hope could be spread. However, Mirai did not agree, and brainwashed the Future Foundation rescue squad, and immediately sought to apprehend the remainder left in the building, so that they wouldn't be able to interfere with Mitarai's plan. Makoto was then saved by Byakuya and Yasuhiro, giving Makoto the chance to stop Mitarai. However, there wasn't much that the four of them could do against an army of the Future Foundation. That is until certain characters arrived, as the remnants of despair, who had now been cured and freed from their despair hypnosis, show up to help Makoto stop Mitarai, which they successfully do. Makoto then sees them off as they leave by boat. Yu Narukami then explains to Makoto that he needs to carry the burden of his heroic actions and his hope, which he then accepts. Asking if Makoto has any plan in mind, he explained he does. Makoto then proclaimed that every day is a step forward in a world filled with hope and despair. He began to reminisce about Kyoko. Surprisingly, she left the building alive, having been saved by an ex-remnant of despair. Several months after the final killing game, Makoto and the rest of the Future Foundation decide to rebuild Hope's Peak Academy, with him becoming the principal. You might think that this was a good ending, but it seems that they had more for Makoto to do. Makoto makes a small appearance again in Danganronpa V3. Trying not to get into spoilers for this one because this is the one you really should play. Makoto convinces a group of students at his school to do a certain thing for the sake of hope and humanity. This, at this point, is the end of Makoto's crazy life, as we don't really have anything else by this. There's just one thing that I do want to talk about, and that's his ultimate luck ability, because while he's still known as the ultimate hope, he still has that luck. And I did want to mention Nagito Komaeda, because Nagito is also another character whose, ultimate talent is ultimate luck. And the thing with Nagito and Makoto's luck is that Makoto doesn't really control his luck as much or manipulate it as much as Nagito does. It's more like a guardian angel watching over Makoto, as Makoto knows that he has ultimate luck, but he chooses not to manipulate it and just does things that a normal person would do. As where Nagito, even if you saw Danganronpa 3, like the Hope arc, which I'm gonna call it the Hope episode because it's not a real arc, it's just an episode. He literally kicks a pebble down on purpose that knocks over another pebble, that knocks over another pebble, that knocks over a boulder, that knocks over a bigger boulder, and basically crushes a whole group of people. That's what I mean. Like, even in the first chapter, like, Nagito relies on his luck a lot more than Makoto does, because this guy literally wanted to get cleanup duty to set up a murder scene. So like, as where we never really see that with Makoto or him manipulating his luck. It's more like it just happens and he's like, all right, well, yeah, well, why not? There's a scene in Danganronpa 3 where Junko quote unquote accidentally throws a ratchet at him, but Makoto slips on a piece of paper and dodges it somehow. I think even Junko knows that it's unpredictable. She can't, it's different from Nagito's luck. It's unpredictable. As we're like, I guess it makes sense because since Makoto just lives on a day-to-day basis, or like I'll just go with it basis, and Nagito basically doesn't, because let's be honest, as cool as Nagito is, he doesn't live on a day-to-day basis. This fool lives to find stuff, and to manipulate stuff to make hope situations, or situations that require hope. And Makoto doesn't. Makoto just, if it happens, it happens. It's good. It's whatever. It's no need to rush, bro. We good. That's what I feel is the difference. Then I know cause I remember one person, I mentioned this before a long time ago, but I know one person mentioned before that like, oh no, they're the same. Like, bro, they're not the same. Like, even if the characters point out that they're different, take that. Junko herself says that it's different, and unpredictable. As far far as protagonist goes, I say Makoto's like probably my fourth favorite protagonist behind Komaru. Not bad, not behind Komaru. We got that character as number 1. We got that character as number 2. Then you got that character as number 3. And then Makoto and then Komaru. Yeah, Makoto's number 4. He's pretty generic. I mean, if there's one thing I can say about Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, it's the fact that it's nostalgic, and even just listening to the music on like a chill day or whatever, like it makes me feel nostalgic for some reason, and I don't know why, but it does. It has that feel. And it's the same thing for Makoto. Like whenever I see him, it's just like that's that character, you know. Oh man, it makes my heart warm. He's still pretty basic, so that's why I don't have him above like number 4. And the fact that he becomes like the principal, the headmaster of Hope's Peak Academy is just like it completes his character arc or something. He went from this like normal kid who just had like, you know, a couple like strands of good luck or something, all the way to like the headmaster of school. This fool saved the world. Like, you know, it feels warm whenever I think about Makoto. By the way, you guys should really go check out the Truth Bullets discussion I had with my friends a couple years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. Man, time flies. But yeah, Makoto Naegi, the ultimate lucky student. I like him.